Hello, friends. I am Ravi Gupta. I am a sleep physician and I am working at All India Institute of Medical Sciences, Rishikesh. On the occasion of World Sleep Day 2021, we will be talking about sleep. But there is a word of caution. I'll be using the word sleep so many times that it can actually induce the sleep. Or you can get bored by what I am saying, and that can also make you fall asleep. So, a discretion is advised. But always remember, I am a sleep physician, and if I am able to make you fall asleep, then I probably won. Before we start discussing about the sleep, I have to make a disclosure, and I do not have any conflict of interest related to this presentation. Now, if we come to this importance of sleep, which was known by our ancestors, you would find that in most of the religions, in the religious textbook, you will find some shlokas, verses related to the sleep. So here I have taken one shloka from this Shri Durga Saptashati, and it says, Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Nidra Rupena Sanstitha Namastasyai 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 Namo Namaha, and it means that I pay my regards thrice to the Devi or the divine who is present in all the living beings in the form of Nidra. Now you can get many of these shlokas and verses in Hindu literature. Not only the Hindu literature, you can also find the similar kind of verses in the Islamic literature. So here you see that one of the verses says that the person who offer prayers and also sleeps at night uh, is a good person because your body has a right on to you. That means after a tiring day, your body actually needs the sleep, and it is your duty to stay asleep. Then the second part talks about the sleep deprivation or the people who are not taking adequate sleep, and this clearly mentions that if you are feeling drowsy while praying, then you should go to the bed until the slumber is over. Not only the Hindu and Islamic text, but also you will find the similar, say, kind of concepts in the Christian literature in the Bible. You can see here that the Christian literature or the Bible mentions about the healing power of the sleep, and it also shows that the sleep, the only the people who actually are loved by the God, they only get good sleep. Now, after this preamble, we'll shift to some common questions that as sleep physician I often come across. Where whenever I talk about the sleep, the people they ask me, "What is sleep? Doc, tell me when should I sleep and how much should I sleep?" And then many of the people ask me about the concept of sleep deprivation. And the final and the biggest question is, "Doc, I'm too busy. Why should I sleep?" So we will try to answer each of these questions one by one. Now, you must have seen people in their sleep. So you know that when they are sleeping, they are not awake. They are detached from the external world. Whatever is happening in the surrounding, they are not aware of that. It's a time when the body is quiescent, so the people they make minimal movement. But the good thing is this state of altered consciousness, as we say medically, is reversible. That means people can be awakened from the sleep. Now, one of the another question is, when should I sleep? Well, I'm pretty sure that you are aware of the different species that exist on this earth. You must have seen animals and birds. And you know that certain animals and birds, they actually stay awake and they become active during the night. So these are known as the animals and the birds which are nocturnal in nature. Then you must have witnessed certain animals and the birds who are more active during the day and they sleep at night. And these are known as the animals and the birds who are having the diurnal pattern of sleep and wakefulness. Please mind it. The man is also a social animal, and like the other living creatures, the nature has also designed us to stay awake and they spend time in sleep at particular time. So if we go by the classification of the diurnal and the nocturnal species, you will find that the nature has designed us to stay awake during the day and to sleep at night, just like the parrots, sparrows, peacock, hen, the cows, and many other animals. Now, continuing on the question, when should I sleep? Because of the fact that we are diurnal species, that means we are supposed to wake up early in the morning and we are supposed to go to bed early in the evening. Early in the evening means around 8 to 9 o'clock in the evening. And if you see the people who are living in villages, especially where the electricity has not reached yet, you will find that these people or the people, the tribes which are living in jungle, they actually go to bed early in the evening and then they wake up early in the morning. So they are actually following the routine what we are designed for by the mother nature. Now, after this boring talk, let's again come to the sleep in literature. Uh, if you see the Shakespeare also realized that the sleep is is a boon which is given to us by the mother nature, and it actually helps us to detach from the environment and to um, have a relaxed mind and the relaxed body. Then, second important question: how much should I sleep? Now, if you see here in this graph, you will find that the requirement for the sleep it reduces as we age. So, a newborn child, if you have seen any in your family, you will find that the newborn child sleep almost for 20 to 22 hours in a day, with brief awakenings in between. As the child grows by the month of by the age of 3 months, you will find that the sleep pattern stabilizes and the infant spend most of the time of the night in sleep. As you grow older and you become a toddler, that means around age of 2 to 3 years, your sleep requirement reduces to around 16 to 17 hours a day. So the children at this age, they have good long sleep at night, and also they spend some time in sleep during the daytime as well. Now coming to the children, that means the school going children in the primary classes, they require around 12 to 13 hours of sleep. So they sleep around 8 to 10 hours in night, and in addition they also take the nap for 1 to 2 hours during the day. But as we grow in the adolescence period, that means after the teenage, the sleep requirement somehow start approaching towards the sleep requirement of an adult, and a teenage person requires around 9 to 10 hours of sleep every day. Now, uh, one of the big question is whether they should spend 8 to 9 hours of the sleep only during the night, or whether they can have a break in their sleep and they can spend some time in the night and some time during the day in the form of the nap. Always remember, my friends, a good long sleep is definitely better than the sleep which is broken into two or multiple parts. As we grow old, that means after the age of 60, sleep need further reduces to around 5 to 6 hours, and you can see these people they go to bed early and they wake up early. Of course, there can be people who are requiring more than that amount of the sleep in every age, or a lesser amount of sleep in every age. But this figure is say proposed for most of the population, that means around 95% of the population, they require at least this much of sleep. Now, the big question that I'm always come across when I talk to the children and the adolescents and I mention about the sleep deprivation, that means, are you short of your sleep? Usually I get the response, what? Am I sleep deprived? No, no. Who told you? What I am sleeping, even if I'm sleeping less, it is natural. Now let's examine what does the scientific literature says about this fact. Now, the sleep physicians and the researchers they conducted the study across the world, and in all the countries we have found, including India, that children, adolescents, and the adults they are sleeping lesser than what they require. And because they are sleep deprived, they develop a number of problems which can be medical problem, which are the emotional problems, and which can also interfere with the proper growth of the body, as we will discuss in subsequent sections. So when we talk about the sleep deprivation, let's try to find out what are the common reasons and the signs for the sleep deprivation. So before we switch on to discuss about the reasons, let's go with what are the red flags. That means how to identify that a person is sleep deprived. You must have seen some people, or maybe you have done it yourself. When your family members they try to wake you up in the morning, dad, just 5 minutes more, mom, just 10 minutes more, and that's how you keep on postponing your waking time. And this is actually a sign that you are short of your sleep. Then the people who are short of their sleep, their brain does not work well. The reason we will discuss in the subsequent slides. So they make mistakes very frequently. They are not able to pay attention to what is happening in the surroundings, and that actually leads to the frequent mistakes. These children, uh, you can see that they are making mistakes, especially in the tasks which are demanding. For example, mathematics, the science. Then these children they are often quick to react, and that is the reason at times their behavior becomes abnormal. They react too quickly without judging the what is the correct reaction to the environment or the to the situation, and at times they blur the incorrect response which can be verbal or physical. So they get in the conflicts with the people in their vicinity. Then many of the children who are sleep deprived they feel sleepy, especially when they are in a monotonous job. For example, the classes, especially the classes related to the subjects which require a lot of attention, especially the science and the mathematics. So they feel sleepy and difficult to stay awake. Then these children who are short of sleep, they feel tired throughout the day. Children who are short of their sleep, they try to catch up the sleep on the weekends and the holidays. So they wake up late on the weekends and the holidays, despite the fact that they are going to bed at their usual bedtime. Now, here I would like you to introduce a concept of sleep debt. Friends, always remember that sleep debt keeps on accumulating. So, to simplify, suppose you require the sleep for 7 hours a night, and because of any reason you are not able to sleep 7 hours a night and you are able to sleep only for 6 hours. So, that means you are short of 1 hour of sleep every night. And what does that mean in other words? That by the end of a weekend, you are short of one night of the sleep, and this keeps on accumulating, and that actually will lead to all kind of deleterious consequences that can occur because of the poor sleep of one night. So now some of you might have agree with me that yes, you are sleep deprived, but why? That is a million dollar question. First and foremost, I would like to discuss about the life without the electricity. Many of many of you or some of you might be belonging to the villages where the electricity has not yet reached. And if you go to your village in your vacations, you would find that the people they go to bed quite early in the evening. That means around 8 to 9 o'clock, and they wake up well before the dawn. And this is the life without electricity. Most of the people who are living in jungles, that means the tribes, they follow the same kind of schedule. But most of the people like us who are living in the cities or the villages where the electricity has reached, uh, we actually stay awake till late in the evening and or sometimes late in the night. So now, considering the adverse consequences of staying awake late in the night and the sleep deprivation, we have to really think whether electricity is a bane or a boon for us. Well, I would say that it's a boon, but provided that we are using this boon in a logical and justifiable. Now, why are the people who are living in the cities where the electricity has reached, they are sleep deprived? One of the common reasons that we have found across the globe. Most of the children and adolescents now they have access to screens. All of us have smartphones. Some of us have access to the tablets, and some of us also have access to the computer screens and the TVs in our bedroom. So we keep on watching different kinds of programs, we keep ourselves engaged in the social media, and that actually deprives us of the sleep. When we are talking about the screen, there are two reasons that we are sleep deprived. First, the screens they actually emit the light. Now this light reaches to your retina, and your retina sends these signals to your brain, and your brain gets a feeling that look, it is not the night, it is still the day. Now our brain, whenever it has a signals, especially in the darkness, it gets the signal that it is a night, so it starts secreting a hormone known as melatonin. And this melatonin actually helps us to fall asleep and helps us to stay asleep. So when you are using your screens till late in the night, then the secretion of melatonin reduces, and that actually delays your bedtime. Second issue is when you are watching any kind of program on the screens or you are getting yourself engaged on the social media, then it is activity which is a kind of stimulating activity. You actually like it, you enjoy it. So your brain becomes active. And always remember, my friends, and with an active brain, you cannot fall asleep. On the same time, instead of watching the screen, if you start solving the problems of the mathematics, or maybe you start reading the book of your science, which is quite boring to most of the students, unfortunately, then you would find that you actually starts yawning and you fall asleep. So this is actually the role of the boredom. So you should try to create the boredom, especially in the night before you go to bed. Now, coming to the social norms. Unfortunately, even if you want to fall asleep, there is a possibility that the elder members in your family they are watching the TV, or they are engaged in the screens, or maybe they are talking to their friends, and that actually also stimulates your brain, and it actually delays the sleep. So, unfortunately, what we have seen that nightlife has become a social acceptable norm in most of the cities. If you look at any of the great big city, even in India, the nightlife is becoming a social norm, and that is actually depriving us of the sleep. Then, the third reason for the students is that they are actually, many of the students, they feel pressured because of their studies. They get homework, they have to appear in the competitive examination, so they try to study at the expense of their sleep. And my friends, always remember, studying at the expense of your sleep is not good. And what are the consequences? We will discuss sometime later. Then, after talking about the sleep deprivation, let's see. We have already discussed that our ancestors, they knew about the importance of the sleep, and they actually tried to say they tried to make us to follow a regular sleep schedule by having some kind of ritual that we have to follow. So if you see that the most of the religions in the Asia, whether we talk about Hinduism, whether we talk about Islam, Buddhism, or any other religion, the first prayer is often offered well before the dawn, and the last prayer is offered just after the dusk. And in between, we consider that the God is also sleeping. That means we do not offer any prayer in the night, considering the fact that the God is sleeping. And if we offer a prayer at that time, that will actually interfere with the sleep of the God. So I am not really sure whether it's actually there is God exists or not, whether the God sleeps or not. But what I am sure that our ancestors, they knew about the importance of the sleep, also the importance of the adequate amount of the sleep, and also the timing of the sleep. And that is the reason that is the reason that they developed these kind of rituals, and they embedded it in the religion so that we follow it by compulsion. Now, another reason for the sleep deprivation could be sleep disorders. So, one of the common sleep disorder is insomnia, where the person is not able to fall asleep, stay asleep, or have frequent awakenings during the sleep, or wake up too early before the desired wake time. And this has been explained wonderfully by Akbar Ilahabadi. आई होगी किसी को हिज्र में मौत, आई होगी किसी को हिज्र में मौत, मुझको तो नींद भी नहीं आती. So here you can see that the poet is saying that a person could have died when he was separated from the beloved. But when I am separated from my beloved, I do not get even the sleep, and that beautifully explains the insomnia. Mohsin Asrar Sahab explains about the hypersomnia. That is the person who desperately wants to fall asleep. So he wrote the शेर, बहुत कुछ तुमसे कहना था मगर मैं कह न पाया, बहुत कुछ तुमसे कहना था मगर मैं कह न पाया, लो मेरी डायरी रख लो, मुझे नींद आ रही है. And that beautifully explains the hypersomnia. Then I could find some poems related to the snoring, and always remember, my friends, that the people who are snoring, many of them, they are also suffering from the a disorder which is known, which we call as obstructive sleep apnea. In obstructive sleep apnea, the person, they stop breathing for some time during sleep, and one of the common presentation of the obstructive sleep apnea is snoring. And here you can see a poem by Edmund Leck. And snore she does, the wall of the camper she shake, the windows do rattle, and she causes dishes to break. I wait with bated breath for the morning when she does awake. Similarly, Kathleen Ottman mentioned about the restlessness that can occur in the body during sleep, and this actually explains one of the sleep disorders that is known as restless leg syndrome. The people who are suffering from restless leg syndrome, they often feel an urge to move legs, especially in the night when they go to bed. they feel certain kind of funny sensations in their muscles, the calf muscles, the thighs, the arms, and they keep on moving and tossing and turning in the bed till the time these sensations are no more. So that actually delays their bedtime and also consequently deprive them of their sleep if they have to wake up at a fixed time in the morning. So, Kitlin Othman mentions sleepless nights. I am drifting on my feet, sleepless nights. These weeks repeat, sleepless nights. So, this is just a stanza from the poem of Kitlin Othman. Now, the most important question: why should I sleep? I have so much work to do. I am enjoying my life. And you are telling me to fall asleep? You are telling me to increase my time of sleep? You are telling me to fall asleep early in the evening? Why? So let's discuss about the reason. Reason 1, most important. Whenever we are awake and working, then the brain cells they are also working, and when the brain cells they are working, they actually use the energy, and when they use the energy, they release a certain kind of toxic substances. These toxic substances they come out of the brain cells and remain there for a long time, and it is the time of the sleep when the brain clears itself from these toxic substances, and that actually recharges the brain cell to work again the subsequent day. And for that, we have a specific symptom in the brain. This is known as lymphatic system. So you must have the adequate duration of the sleep so that your brain becomes rested and you are recharged for the next day to so that you can work really hard and you can give your best subsequent. Secondly, you must have seen these days that the people are becoming obese. You must have heard about the debates on the health shows. You must have read the articles in the newspapers that people are becoming obese. And we say, the medical people say, that it's a pandemic of obesity, especially in the developing and the developed countries of the world. Now, one of the major reasons for the obesity is related to the sleep. Now, as we are discussing that we are getting short of sleep and we are sleep deprived, so we are staying awake for a long time. That means we have a longer time available to eat. And when we are staying awake for a long time and we are sleep deprived, that means we feel tired during the day. And that actually reduces our capacity and the time that we spend in the exercise. So that reduces the expenditure of the calories that we gather. Thirdly, the sleep deprivation and sleeping late in the night actually brings some kind of physiological changes in the body. One of the physiological changes is the secretion of a hormone known as ghrelin. Now, ghrelin is a hormone which is secreted by the stomach and it actually increases our hunger and especially our preference to certain kind of foods. So, you must have realized or witnessed that when you are waking up late in the night, you never feel like eating the salads and the fruits. You always have an inclination towards something fried, sweet, fat laden, carbohydrate rich food, and that actually gives you a lot of calories which you are not able to spend next day because of the sleep deprivation, and that also adds to the obesity. Then one of the important part, if you read the newspaper articles, you must have come across that India is becoming a global hub for the diabetes mellitus. Now, the reasons that we have discussed in the previous slide, that means the obesity, the lack of exercise, of course, they do contribute to development of diabetes. But the sleep deprivation and staying up late in the night also contribute to the diabetes. We have had significant a sizable number of experiments which have shown that when we are sleep deprived just for one night, the blood sugar rises. And if the people they are sleep deprived for many nights, then this increase in the blood sugar becomes a kind of stable pattern, and that is how the diabetes develops. And what is the reason for the increase in the blood sugar? There is reduced secretion of the insulin, and there is a reduced response of the certain gates that are present on the muscles to the insulin. Now, the insulin actually tries to push the sugar from the blood inside the muscles. So, when the secretion of the insulin is reduced, that means there is nothing which can push the sugar in the muscles. Secondly, the gates which are present on the muscles, they also become a kind of jammed. And because of that, so even when the insulin is present, the insulin has to really work hard to open these gates. And that we call as the reduced sensitivity of receptors of the glucose to the insulin. And that is the reason the diabetes mellitus is increasing these days. Thirdly, even our heart is not devoid of the adverse effect of the insomnia, sleep deprivation, and waking up late till night. My friends, please remember that if you are waking up till late in the night or you are sleep deprived, your blood pressure will rise. You will develop a condition known as coronary artery disease, and in this condition the people they develop heart attack because the blood vessels which supply the blood to the heart itself they become blocked because of the multiple mechanisms, and one of the important mechanism is increase in the bad cholesterol in the blood. So if you are suffering from any sleep disorder, you are sleep deprived, or you are a kind of owl person who prefers to stay awake till late in the night and to wake up late in the morning, you are at higher risk of having these problems. Then, the scientific experiments have shown that if you are not sleeping for an adequate time or you are staying awake till late in the night, certain areas of your brain which are shown here in the red, these areas their functioning alters, and this altered functioning results in poor execution, poor understanding or ability to enjoy the beautiful moments of the life, and poor control over your reaction, especially the emotional reactions. So the people they become aggressive, they become impulsive, they are at risk of committing the suicide, or many of the people who are sleep deprived or the people who are owls, they are at higher risk of getting addicted to the substances like nicotine, caffeine, alcohol, smack, and many more. Now we talked about the performance. My friends, if you are not sleep deprived or if you are staying awake till late in the night, this area of your brain which actually helps you to understand about the logical parts, it actually becomes hypofunctional, and that leads to the poor memory, poor attention, and poor execution, and consequently your performance in the academic matters it starts deteriorating. Now we have talked about that why should we sleep and why should we should avoid sleep deprivation. Now the last part, what can we do to improve the sleep, and that is something which is most important. Now if we look at a poem by the Alok Dhanwa, it's the poet beautifully explains रात के आवारा मेरी आत्मा के पास भी रुको, मुझको दो ऐसी नींद जिस पर एक तिनके का भी दबाव ना हो, ऐसी नींद जैसे चांद में पानी की घास. So you can see here that the poet is asking for a good, deep, restful sleep. Now, how to get it? First, sleep well, sleep on time, and do it every day. Always remember, my friends, that your brain learns the sleep time and the wake time. You must have experienced that whatever is your scheduled breakfast time or your scheduled lunch time, at that time you feel some hunger. But if you are not able to eat the food at that time, after some time, your hunger passes. You don't feel hungry anymore. And the same thing is with the sleep. Whatever your scheduled bedtime and the scheduled wake time, your brain gives you a signal, look, this is the time to fall asleep. And if by any means you delay that time, then for quite some time you will not be able to fall asleep. So, sleep on time, as we have discussed, but do it every day. So, regularity is important. Then, coming to the role of exercise, we all know that when we spend time in the exercise, we become fatigued, tired, and say we are able to fall asleep. But always remember, my friend, it is really important when are you exercising. If you exercising in the morning, it will help you to fall asleep early in the night. But if you are spending major portion of your evening in the exercise, then it actually increase your alertness. And by increasing the alertness, it actually delays your bedtime. Important factor, the environment in your bedroom. Your bed should be comfortable, should be cozy. The temperature should be maintained in the bedroom to such that it actually promotes you fall asleep. That means, in other words, we can say that your room should not be too cold or too hot. Then also pay attention to the level of noise that you have in the surrounding. If you are trying to fall asleep in a noisy surrounding, you will not be able to. So your bedroom environment really matters, and you should try to make it such that it promotes your sleep. Then, one important factor these days, especially the adults, they consume a high amount of caffeinated beverages. Uh, for example, the tea and the coffee. And the children, they also consume quite an amount of the caffeinated beverages in the form of cold drinks. Always remember, my friend, caffeinated beverages, they actually increase the alertness. So if you're consuming these kind of drinks in the evening, you are delaying your sleep, and that will interfere your sleep early in the evening. So you should try to avoid these kind of stimulant substances, especially in the evening. Coming to the role of food. If you go to bed and you are too full, you have taken a heavy meal, you will not be able to fall asleep because you will not be comfortable. Similarly, if your stomach is empty, it will also interfere with your sleep. So what is important? That you have adequate amount of meals. Now, timing of the meal is also important. If you have your dinner early in the evening, then it actually promotes your early falling asleep. But if you are taking your dinner late in the evening, that actually delays your bedtime. And these are the factors which are actually modifiable. You can work on these factors. Then come to the screen, as we have already discussed. My dear friends, please avoid screens in the evening, that means after 7 o'clock, as far as possible, because these screens, for the different reasons that we have already discussed, will take away your sleep. So, this is the end of my presentations, my dear friend, and thank you very much for paying the attention. So, I will just give you one message. and which is also the slogan proposed by the World Sleep Society for this World Sleep Day, and that is the regular sleep for a healthy future. So, if you are spending your time in the sleep which is optimal in duration, which is good in quality, and you are following it regularly, then you will remain healthy. Thank you once again, my dear friends, and I wish you a happy World Sleep Day 2021. Thank you once again. Stay healthy, sleep well, sleep on time. Thank you.